This week, the NATO allies committed to dramatically increase their defense spending to that 5% of GDP, something that no one really thought possible. And they said, "You did it, sir, you did it." Well, I don't know if I did it, but I think I did.
No, Mr. Trump, you did it. I have to agree with your sentiments. But not only did you do it with NATO, for the past 6 months, Mr. Trump, you have been doing it on every front possible. You've been doing it with the trade deals and making sure that money is coming back to America. You have done it with the peace talk, the ceasefire that is going on with Israel and Iran. You're doing it with the money when it comes to the money with Qatar, that area there. $1 trillion coming to America. They gave you that gift of that big old presidential plane. Everything that you're touching right about now is working as you promised, especially abroad. And what's amazing about that, if I can pause on that area right there for just a moment, what happened in the Middle East with Qatar, with those particular countries, he put it to Israel. Now, I'm only saying that because of Ben Shapiro not being confident of how the money has been coming from those countries, which means that he may not be giving that type of attention to Israel. So Israel does have concern, whereas its enemies are giving funds to Trump, which means they may not have that same type of influence. So that is a issue, but yet Trump stood up to that. So regardless to what you may say, we as Americans, this American nation is benefiting from those acts. Look at what Iran is going to be at. Iran, they want to have the sanctions moved so they can be a part of the global economy. The Iranian rial, that's their currency, and they want their currency to be a global currency. All of this is happening under Trump's watch. Israel, on the other hand, hasn't been doing a whole lot of negotiations and working with Trump in that area, which means it seems like Israel is not showing their value of what they're bringing to America. If you pause and look at it, that is a strong question. What is the value that they're bringing in this Trump economy? Everyone else is finding a way to invest with America. So that is something, if you know what those answers are, we'll receive them in the comments there. But wait, there's more. Trump has also been able to get this ICE area moving. Now, this ICE area is very strange because he made a decision with ICE where he said that he's not going to have ICE to go after the farmers, all right, and that they can stay there. Well, one of the things that I've noticed that Trump has been doing, and this is my opinion, and I think it's playing out as I looked at it, that we're in a season where those people who are working for oppressed dollars, spiritually in America, that is illegal. And if you are a owner that looks for finances in that manner to work people like that, those days are over. So that you won't be able to use those type of people, so that you won't have human trafficking bringing those people to America, the Trump administration is shutting that down. I tell you, he's moving. There's things that he's doing that we have not seen. But look, what he's doing is unprecedented. We have not seen this with other presidents, especially this NATO deal. Let's look at two presidents back to back. That will be Barack Obama and then headed on to Joe Biden. I'm going to show you this clip to show you what happened when it came to this point for them to deal with NATO. Let's get this beautiful bean footage rolling.
Situation in Ukraine reminds us that our freedom isn't free. And we've got to be willing to pay for the assets, the personnel, the training that's required to make sure that we have a credible NATO force and an effective deterrent force.
All NATO members are making the pledge to expand our industrial base and our industrial capacity. like our defense spending commitment. This is a critical step to maintaining our security.
Now, that was Joe Biden as well as Barack Obama. And what do the two of them have in common? They did not get a deal done. That's one. But there's also more. If you look at their presidencies to where they are now, and what separates them from Donald Trump is very simple. They supported woke. The woke agenda spread it in America, and they were forcing it upon other nations, and it didn't come across well. Now, Obama was forcing it upon other nations. When it came to Joe Biden, he was forcing it, but also he brought in Kamala Harris to help him with that nasty work of pushing woke. Apparently, those ideologies of woke is not being celebrated with the rest of the world. How can we say that? We can look at Trump right now and see the strength that he's governing with. For those that have Trump derangement, I've said it before, you need to get that off of you. You got to find a way to put that behind you. Whether you agree with him or not, you're going to have to come to the bird's eye view and look at the process, look at the policies. If you're unable to do that, you're going to have struggle, you're going to have trouble, you're going to have fear, you're going to have anxiety, you're going to be speaking things that you shouldn't speak that's going to be held against you, so help you God. We have to look at this situation differently. Going to the area of what he's doing back home and getting the illegals out. Many people are fighting that, but it's really putting a heavy tax and a heavy burden on America. You got people here that at one time got plenty money through the Biden-Harris administration. I mean, buku dollars. And the money that they got was for food, well into the 10 grand. They had just cash on its own, like 3,000 to 4,000. They got housing vouchers. That was a tax on the American economy that American workers, American people did not get. Trump shut that down. And the people that were getting those benefits that were illegal, he sent them out. Now, there's reasons that people could look at and say why it was being done by the Democrats, and it was so that they can hedge the votes at the voting booths with the illegal immigrants. And there's some accuracy to that. But at the end of the day, that has nothing to do with those nations, yet they're watching. And yet they are following lead to Trump. Now, why is that? It's the dollar, baby. That's what it is. It's the dollar. Now, look. Even though the dollar is going away, even though we're switching to gold and silver and coming in alignment with the BRICS, one world, everybody working together with that currency. No longer are we able to use that fiat to give money away. That's why DEI has to shut down. That's why the embassies around the world had to shut down, because there's no more money the way that we were spending money. That's why the education system has to be shut down. Look, the Democrats have known this for a long time, have said that the government had to be shrunk. They knew it was going to happen later. They just didn't know on who watch, so they didn't want to speak. But if you haven't been paying attention to all of this, the problem is at your door. It then came in, they didn't warn you, and these are the people that we voted for, but they didn't warn it. Now, they told us it was going to happen, but they didn't warn that it was going to happen now. They didn't say, look, we warned you in advance. We need to make some adjustments. None of that, because they don't want to give the credit for what's going on to the Republican side, especially Donald Trump. This is where we are. This is your medicine. But yet, I personally believe that we're on the other side of this. We're going into a direction whereas the playing field is level, the economy is coming to a place whereas we, the people, are going to have sovereignty because of the gold and silver. When is the gold and silver? The gold and silver is God's economy. He says, I own all the gold and silver. Now, does that make Trump a man of God? I'm not saying that. But what I am saying, he is preparing a system in place by getting rid of the woke, by getting the nations to come together, bringing peace to the Middle East. He's setting it up. It's a little spooky, it's a little scary, but he's setting it up. Blessings of peace to you. Have a good day.